Hey Garden Fam, it's your host Raven Epiphany. I hope you are doing well and having a wonderful week so far. It's been a couple of days before I came on and chatted with you guys, and I did miss you. I wanted to take a little short break after the marathon of Jubilant July. I hope that you guys enjoyed that. If you missed any of those videos, I definitely encourage you to go back and check them out. And now I wanted to chat with you guys and make a super quick video. We are in the month of August, which I am calling Abundant August. You know, I used to be a teacher, so I love still using, alliteration and things. So, forgive me or don't for always making it something cute that, rolls off the tongue. So, yes, we are in Abundant August, and what a declaration that is. Abundance has to do more than just money. It is about living a full life in all areas. And so really quickly, I'm going to read a scripture and then I'll chat with you about our title. The title today is Boomerang. It's all coming back to you. And I'll talk about what that means in a second. But in John 10:10, Jesus tells us that the thief does not come but to steal, kill, and to destroy. But he says, I have come that they may have life and that they may have it more abundantly. And so not only does that pertain to our finances, but it pertains to every single area of our lives. The word abundant, it means present in great quantity, more than adequate, over sufficient. So really, when the Bible says in Psalm 23 that our cup runneth over, that is the type of life we ought to live in every area of our lives. Abundant in love, abundant in finances, abundant in health, abundant in joy. Insert whatever other good things there. That is the type of life we are meant to live. Now, when we come to Jesus, we likely were not living that type of life because, the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy, right? And so there are many areas in which we may have been lacking or where we were not living up to the fullness, the oversufficient, the cup runneth over, the overflow that is, that Jesus died for us to be able to have. And so he will take us through this journey of coming into the fullness of the promises he has for us. And so, oftentimes there will be a certain season where he has us really laser focused on one area where we're learning and growing in that area where, we're allowing him to prune and also to improve certain things. So for example, our health, there may be a certain season in which he's really teaching us what to eat and how to eat. He's teaching us how to move our bodies physically. He's teaching us how to take care of our mental and emotional health. Maybe he's sending us to therapy and, working certain things in us and out of us that maybe we hadn't dealt with previously, but he may focus on our health, right? And then in the next season, let's say, he may be working on our relationships, our work relationships, our friendships, our romantic relationships or marriage, our relationships with our children, etc. Where he's really focused in on that interpersonal aspect of life and bringing abundance in that area. Then he may move to our finances and he's teaching us how to steward well over our finances, how to, have a wealth mindset and not a scarcity mindset, to come into understanding his promises for us in that area. And then so on and so forth. God will take us through seasons where he's really honing in on certain areas of our lives and helping us to learn and grow and come into the mind of Christ concerning that area. And so when the title says Boomerang, it's all coming back to you, there then comes a season where all of these things come together. Then you are able to step into the fullness of abundant life where all areas of these lives, God has touched them. He has improved them. He has taught you, his will concerning these areas and brought up the standard of your life in those areas. And then it all comes together where he's saying, hey, you've learned about health. Hey, you've learned about finances. Hey, you've learned about relationships. Now it's time to deploy all of that and begin living in an abundant ecosystem of life where all of these things are working well, where all of these things are abundant and overflowing, where you are overflowing in joy and love and peace, where you are also overflowing in finances, where your relationships are abundant and fruitful and, thriving. And so, while we're going through that process of learning and development, which technically there will be an aspect of learning and development that we go through for our whole lives. I say that all the time. But in that initial phase of like bringing things up to the standard of kingdom, bringing things up to the standard of, God's mindset about things, the mind of Christ concerning certain things, it may seem as though, while you're focusing on one area, you're not able as much to focus on another. But then there comes a time where you have mastered these areas such that then you are able to, again, create an ecosystem where all of these things are working well together, where you're able to implement what you've learned about health and that be a regular standard for your life, where you're able to implement what you've learned about relationships and that becomes a regular standard and practice in your life, where you're able to implement what you've learned about finances and that becomes your normal standard. Give yourself patience if you are in the season of life where God has you focused on one area and it seems as though you're not able to give as much to another area during that time. Over time, you will see that He'll have you focus on these areas so that then in the end, He can bring it all back to you and it can work well, it can operate smoothly. You will be living in abundance in the life that Jesus died and rose again and promised us that we would have, having life more abundantly. And so, I believe that for many of us, we have been going through that pruning in various aspects of our lives. There were years where God had us focus on a certain thing, the next year focus on another certain thing, etc., etc. And now He's saying, hey, it is time to bring it all together. It is time to bring it all back. It is time to walk in the fullness of those things that I was showing you long ago. You mastered these various aspects with my help, and now it is time to walk in them fully. It is time to implement those things fully. And now you have the grace to do it all smoothly. You have the grace to live in that abundance smoothly. You have the grace to, make these things your norm on an ongoing basis, and it won't be you striving after these things. You have now mastered them such that you have almost become them. You've become the type of person that is wealthy. You've become the type of person that is healthy. You've become the type of person that has fruitful relationships, and you will see that begin to operate on a normal basis in your life. You're no longer just striving to learn a new thing in this area, though again, there is aspects of learning that we should be doing continuously, learning and growing. But overall, that initial activation energy that it took to go from the place that was outside of God to bringing it up to the mind of Christ, you're no longer in that space. You have now entered into a space where you understand the mindset of God concerning various areas, and you have become that. You are no longer just seeking after it. It has become a part of you, such that now it is time to walk it out. It is time for all these things that you have become over time in various aspects to come together and begin to be the fullness of who you are. And you walk in that on a regular basis. It's a part of your routines. It's a part of what you pour out. And that is how you begin to walk in abundance in every area of life. And so no matter what stage you are in, whether you're in that stage where, hey, you're just getting started and God is taking you through what seems like boot camp to, renew your mind about certain things and transform your life in various areas. And, it seems like He's going really hard on a certain area and then it switches and He's going really hard on another area, etc. Push through that, because the ultimate goal is to live the abundant life that, Jesus promised us here in John 10:10. If you are in that space where it's like, okay, I've checked off so many of these spaces, I've been pruned in so many areas, and maybe you just have a few other areas that God is saying He really wants to hone in on, stay the course. You've already come so far. And so why give up now? Why throw in the towel now? Allow God to complete the work that He has begun in you. And then for some of us who, God has had you in what seems like boot camp for a good while. It seems like He has touched every aspect of your life, every aspect of yourself. He has brought you up to kingdom standard in so many different areas. He has taught you His mindset about things. And now He's saying, hey, it's time to bring it together. It is time for it to all boomerang come back to you. Go ahead and walk in that and know that you have the grace to bring it together. It's no longer a thing you have to strive after. It is now time to just gather together all of the fruits and all of the things that God has been pruning and preparing and bringing you into over the last few years, months, however long it has been for you. And so, boomerang, it's all coming back to you. I got that, that quote came to mind, and that is how God kind of introduced the topic of today's video. But if you guys used to like to watch cartoons, there was a channel called Boomerang, and it was about, old shows that people used to watch and then being able to play them, playing them again, the Flintstones and Courage the Cowardly Dog and, you know, Cat Dog and all of those other like old Cartoon Network shows that they would replay. You know, God is wanting to replay some things in your life, not the bad things, but the good things that he has, you know, brought you into over time. And now he's saying it's time for it to all come back together. Time for you to walk in that in abundance. And, you know, now live this new life that, you know, he has promised you long ago. And so I hope that's helpful to someone. I hope that made sense for whoever it was meant to make sense for. It is time for it to all come together. It's time for us to walk in and live in abundance, for our cup to overflow in every area of life. And so I hope you receive that today, no matter what stage of this that you are in. I hope you receive it and know that it is for you. And go back and reread John 10:10 whenever you need a reminder of, you know, just what you have been promised, just, you know, the type of life that Jesus, you know, rose again for us to be able to have. And I hope that you have a healthy and wholesome rest of the day. Please like, subscribe, and share this with your tribe. And I will talk to you soon, God willing. Love you bunches.